Inspire is the name of the program. Lebitso la ka ke Mmamolemo, ke Connie Shopper wa ha Sejana mane ke a o amohela ka re ho lenaneo la hao, lenaneo le holo, lenaneo la Inspire le tlang ho wena beke le beke. Mme letsatsing la kajeno jwalo ka mehla ke letsatsi le letle, ke letsatsi la ditaba tse monate moo teng moeti wa rona ke ile ka re kgetlong lena re ke re tlise mme Malia Sakwane ke moeti wa rona letsatsing la kajeno. Mme Malia o holetse Swatini, o holetse South Africa, ha nyalwa Lesotho e le hore e se le Mosotho ha ke bua le wena ya Kgabane. Mme le puo ya rona letsatsing la kajeno e tla ke e fapafapane, e tla mathela haholo ka hare ho Senyesemane ka lebaka la puo o ntse a ithuta hantle a tla le yona jwale o tlo ska makala hore na khone jwale ke nka sekgowa. Once again, welcome to the show. Monate o mokalo ha o bona batho ba bomme ba ikitlaetsa, ba phamisa bomme ba bang, ba phamisa banana ka ntle ka mane, bana ba banana ba tlisa boitshepo ka hare ho bophelo ba bona, kenyelletsa le tsona dikgaitsedi tsena tsa ka. Mme Malia ke a o amohela ka hare ho lenaneo la Inspire, ke kopa o dumedise babuhi ba Inspire.
Thank you so much, me Connie. Ka lebitso ke me Zandile Malia Sakwane, and I was born in South Africa, but I grew up in Swaziland. And now I am married in Lesotho, meaning Guri I'm a Mosotho by Dikgomo.
Yes.
I'm happy to be on the show this morning. Thank you so much.
Oh, perfect. Malia, growing up, how was it? You're talking of Eswatini, South Africa, and now Lesotho. Growing up, how is it? How was it? And also, we want to know about you blending well in this different cultures and backgrounds.
Thank you so much, Connie. Based on, well, if you look at most people, I like saying, how old do you think I am, right? And most people still think I'm young. Maybe it's my body genes, I don't know.
Yeah.
But growing up, I was born in South Africa, as I've mentioned, but because of that time, at that particular time, the apartheid regime, my parents moved to Swaziland. And that is when now my upbringing started, just growing up in Swaziland. I must say that I came from a family that worked hard. My dad was a hard worker. One thing that I like about my dad is that he's this person who inspired me to be the person that I am today. I think for him, it was that he grew up as an orphan, so he wanted a better life for us as his children, but just instilling that there's nothing for mahala, you need to work hard for you to have a good upbringing or to have the things that you want. And he was also very big in terms of education. So imagine an uneducated man making sure that he's working hard for his children to get the education that he never got. Yeah. So I attended my school in St. Michael's Primary School in high school. It was a mission school. And just yesterday I was watching a clip and the current minister of ICT in Swaziland went to the same school. So primary school is a mixed school, high school is a girls' school. So people who know St. Michael's, they know that we were like groomed according to the Anglican, the mission. It was a Christian school. We were groomed in terms of sisterhood. So we're very big on promoting sisterhood, being your sister's keeper, because the high school now was a girls' school. And then from my high school, and then I went back to South Africa now to do my matric, and where I did my university education. And that is where I met my husband, the great Sakwane, who brought me here. And then yes, and then we got married, and then now I'm here. I'm very excited. But just looking at my upbringing, I always say that the way that my dad raised me, and that every time it always drummed it into us to say, I grew up without a mother. It's not nice being an orphan, So that sort of like drew me closer to the less privileged people, like the orphans and the vulnerable in the schools, just always having an eye for such people. So also growing up in Swaziland, literally lived across the school, the community school in Swaziland, and we had a care center there. So as this child who always went to the care center, playing around with those children, taking the little that I have, the food, taking it there, my parents would get so upset with me, just believe.
But we get you stuff and you take it all over to the skis.
Everywhere. And now I'll be coming back. Now I don't have a jersey. I don't have shoes, you know. And at some point, then they discover, because I would always say, no, it got lost. No, this happened. And I'll get a beating, you know. So, but then growing up, I think then they started seeing the heart that I have for the less privileged, because even when I went to university and came back, then I started an organization in Swaziland called as the Impombi, and that means girl shine. So I've always also been drawn to the girl child, you know. And then I didn't understand, because I was still growing up. I didn't know why I was drawn to the girl child, but I just knew that as girls, as young women, we face so many issues, you know. So for me, just focusing on those vulnerable girls who come from disadvantaged backgrounds and sort of like empowering them, you know. At university, I'm also big on research, you know.
And maybe before we get to university, do you think the issue of you having that empathy and sympathy at the same time, does it come with passion that you drew from the experience you got at that particular time, or it's something that you can say you were born to do, like you were born to be a caregiver, a caretaker?
Yeah. So I always say, because this is something that I can't explain, right? Not that I can't explain, but if I'm sitting with someone who really wants to understand, like you're asking right now. So I always say, for me, it's ministry. It's something I was born to do. And now when I follow my life, like I can see, because when I wanted to mention university, I remember the first conference I went to, it was organized by Deloitte, and it's just something that I saw online on campus, and I just applied. It was on young women empowerment. So for me, tracing back, I'm like, that's where it started. But I was also lucky, because then now, if something is your purpose, it's your mission, there's always alignment. You're always moving towards that, you know. So every time I found myself applying for such things, I would get accepted, you know. So would it be trainings, would it be workshops, and I would get capacitated, you know. And then the passion grew, because sometimes you're just following passion, you don't know what you're doing. Until now you realize, no, man, there's issues like teenage pregnancy, what's happening, you know. I spoke about an organization that I started in Swaziland called Ikagas Informed. I was straight from university. What was happening then was that there were so many like they were finding fetuses. I even remember the numbers at the industrial site, like 71 fetuses. And now the question for me was, you know, because abortion in Swaziland is not legal, and that was meaning that was unsafe abortion that was happening for young people. And I'm a Christian, so I'm not a very judgmental person. So every time I'll sit back and say, but what is causing this problem? Why is there so many numbers? What is happening to those young girls, you know? And then I started this organization. I was like, no, we need like a safe space where these young girls can come. And then it worked very well for me, because I was also like a young girl straight from university, you know. So when I created that organization, I was like, no, come, let's sit down. What are the issues that we're facing? So poverty was one of the issues, unemployment, just being a vulnerable, like an orphan and vulnerable, you know. So there's also that transactional sex going on, you know, transactional exchange that is going on due to your situation. So then I started that in Swaziland. But truly speaking, for me, even when I started that, because I was straight from university, my parents had so much dreams for me. I'm a talker. You can see I'm a talker.
Yeah, you don't want to keep quiet, but because you speak sense, it's totally okay.
So my parents had big dreams for me, like, no, you'd make a good lawyer, also straight from university, find a proper job. No, I started an organization from nothing, you know, and then I was just taking care of this girls. Let's do this. And then my parents were not so happy, to the point where sometimes I look back and I say, I wonder if they're proud of me.
They are indeed proud of you. Can you share with us the experiences? Because I can see this is a global challenge. Girls engaging into sexual activities before marriage and stuff. You know, some girls getting into abortion and stuff. It really is quite disturbing. And now I want to know of the conversations that you would share with them. Maybe where drawing from the experiences or from the conversations you would have with them, where can you really say the problem is, and maybe how would you overcome, like collectively, such challenges that would come across?
So with young girls, and maybe just children in particular, because also then now this brings me back to the work that I'm doing in Lesotho, because when I got to Lesotho, and this is where the calling comes in, I more or less started the same movement, same organization. And here in Lesotho, it's called Malia Foundation, and it's named after the name that I was given. And before I answer your question, I really found something very profound in the name Malia, because growing up, I used to say, I just want to have boys. I don't want to have girls, probably because I gave my mom a headache as a girl, but I just thought I was always going to have boys only. And what happened when I got here is that now I was named Malia, and I thought that was the most prophetic thing ever,
Oh, wow.
being given a name for a girl. And when I asked that, I was like, why? I was like, no, because one day you're going to give birth to Malia. You're going to give birth to Leah. So then it makes sense there also to say, oh my God, I've been in the women's movement, empowering young girls, but truly now I'm going to throw myself more into this, because it means I am building something, or I've planted a tree where sometimes it's not for me. So to answer your question, to say what are the issues that some of the girls raised or spoke about, and I must say that these are issues that are everywhere, like in Swaziland, in South Africa, in Uganda, in Zimbabwe, in Lesotho, So basically what happens with the girl child as they're growing, they then they grow into puberty, like the different stages that we know, the sexuality, they don't understand what's happening to themselves. So imagine if now this girl child is growing without a mother, the orphans coming in, or growing up with a guidance who's not there. But also what is also common is that you'll find, I'll speak now in the context of Lesotho, if I'm speaking to an adolescent child is from Mohotlong, and we're in a safe space, and you try to find the background, they're going to tell you that, oh, my mom is in South Africa for better opportunities, jobs, right? Because we struggle with jobs in Lesotho. And then the issue of poverty, and no one is taking care of that girl child and grooming that girl child, and also for that girl child to understand the changes that are happening to them. So now I'm growing as a girl child, I'm not understanding my changes, and then I also go on my period. I am very big on menstrual health and hygiene. And now when we interact with the girls, again, the sources of information, who's telling them about their changes and what they're going through right now. And usually, because the parents are not there, or they're staying with Nkunu, it's usually like, oh, now you're going to get pregnant. I'm on my period, I'm going to get pregnant. Do you understand how that information is coming in, So then who do I go to again? I go to my peers, and sometimes I get wrong information from my peers. So then the stage again that we need to understand as young people are growing in adolescence, it's a stage of confusion. And they don't really know what's happening. So I think for me, it's just those things to say that there's that gap, information gap. And also the grooming, and also when you speak to parents, because I also like sitting with parents. I love women empowerment as well.
Because my next question would now be the type of conversations. Now it was the conversations about you and the girls. Now I'm talking about conversations between parents and their kids.
100%.
Be it girls and boys. What should our conversations maybe be centered around, centering around the issue of puberty, the issue of adolescence and stuff? What would be our main topic of interest? Because now you have just mentioned something very important, that we never really communicated the right. We never really communicate the right way as parents to our kids about these things, puberty and stuff. And maybe that's where the gap gets to be.
Yeah. So, Mekoni, I love being very practical, right? Do you have a child?
I've got two boys.
How old?
20 and 17.
So do you?
I'm old.
Do you have conversations with your boys about relationships?
Definitely, I do.
Are you?
But it's lately I do have conversations. But let me tell you the truth, I still have restrictions.
100%.
Before we continue this conversation, let's take a very short break. This is very interesting now. Mo wa inspire re ntse re na le mme Malia Sakwane, yena o bua ka ditaba tsa bophelo ba hae le mosebetsi o motle a o etsang ka hare ho bana ba rona ba banana bashanyana, mme ha o le motswadi he malebela a ka reng ana ke a bohlokwa haholo. Le lona banana le bo kgaitsedi ka ntle ka moo ditaba tsena ke ditaba tsa bohlokwa, le di mamele hantle ke a tseba hore di tla le thusa.
Jwang hore makgethe a be teng. Bohlweki bo bonahala hantle ha o sebeditse ntho e qetile. Ha o hlatswe dijana e be se emetse ntho se tla sebetsa nakong e hlahlamang.
Ke tlwaetse hore mobu ka dirifi fela ntse ke re ke mme wa human resources. So ke ile mono taba ka ile hore fela nthena ke tlo e etsa.
Molao ono o le wa fetola dintho tse ngata hobaneneng ke ona o no hleka kotloloho o tlosa mo ngwana mo mosadi a nang kwa a le bona a eso kwana mo ke hlahetseng teng e ne le sebaka sa teng
Ha re kopaneng re le bomme re ke re tlotla re khumamang re ke re bone ona be modimo le hodimo nna ka serarabele o ntso di bona dintho ha ke bua mona ka tumelo ke itse ha e tlose mathata empa e etsa hore o eme mathata a ntse a le teng. Pelo e ja serate o batla re o fumanele motho ya jwang.
ke hloka motho a sera sa tswana na o batlang
Ba ke sa ngati sa le moholo.
Haeba ke motho a utlwile bohloko o hloka motho a tlo mo thoba.
Ke batla motho wa nnete. Sa nna o mosebetsi. Ke ka nka be go fumane bo pelenyana ho matsatsi ana a bo di-Happy Father's Day.
Welcome back, Erin Zerili Kahare Holly Manola Inspire Lime Malia Safan. Malia, we go to break. Ukata humputsa hore na nna ke buile bana ba ka le hore na the type of conversations, especially issues that affect them as they grow up.
So yes, when we were speaking about that, one of the conversations I love, or a conversation starter that I like having with parents, is that are you comfortable speaking to your child?
Yeah.
Do you create a safe space for you to speak? Like, is your child even open to come to you and tell you how they're feeling or what's going on in their lives?
Yeah.
So for us, or at least for this generation, I found that now we are very busy parents. We are never there for our children, you know. And if we are there now, we trust the schools to be the sources of information. Kind of the first source of information has to be the home, your values, how you're being brought up. And so at the end of the day, then you find that these children, like I said previously, that then now they get wrong information from outside. But you as a parent, if you're comfortable and you create that safe space where you have an authentic conversation with your child about relationship, the body changes that are happening in their lives, then they also know that now I can come to mommy, I can go to daddy, I can go to Kunu to ask about these questions or what's happening. Why? Because they have created a safe space for me to be able to go and speak about what's happening in my body. So what you often find at times is that we are not there.
We are old school kind of parents.
Yes, so old school kind of parents.
We are so reserved that we don't want to discuss these issues with our kids. They also get to be shy as well because we never create such platform. Exactly.
Yeah. So with the girl child, imagine, I'll speak very strongly about the girl child because I'm just so big on the girl child, and especially with menstruation. You know? So with the girl child, imagine when they're going through those body changes and they're going through menstruation, and mommy is not even there to tell. And now when we speak with parents like this, they will tell you, I that's what teachers do, or Hono will do it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And we're always running away from such conversations. Your child comes to tell you that, oh, I'm in a relationship now. I remember my boy actually told me, because I'm creating that safe space, you know, for us to have such conversations. And he was still in high school then. I was like, so I wanted to understand.
At the same time, it's not so easy.
And I'm like, I'm an old school parent. I remember calling my sister in Swaziland, and I'm like, Aibo, your child is saying, at the same time, I have to put the serious face. Like, oh, okay, Papa. So what's going on? And then now I had to say to him, I'm like, but you understand that now you are growing up, you're starting to have feelings. And if anything, if you do 1, 2, 3, these are the consequences.
Exactly.
And also because now we are starting to have these feelings for this person. Make sure you're not in private places with them. You go, you sit.
We must see you.
Yes, we must see you.
Go out to the ice cream dates. We want to see you.
We want to see you.
Exactly.
And I'll be sitting there monitoring, like, I'm somewhere.
Exactly. So now, moving to Memalia, you are a coordinator, you are a founder of the business. It's how make with the duties about me. O tlameha ho bona hore le bomme matsale kwana mokgotlong ha o ile ditaba di tsamaya hantle ho monate. How do you balance your life? And also we want to know, to keep yourself still intact and mentally stable. This would definitely also apply to other ladies out there who are multitasking like myself. I'm a mess. So now we want to know how do you keep yourself still intact and still sane, of course, and also we want to know about those initiatives that you are running at the moment.
Okay, so currently I am the founder and the director of Malia Foundation. We focus on adolescent girls and young women on issues of menstrual health and hygiene, gender-based violence awareness and advocacy, and also we serve as a space of support. I'm also the current 1 Billion Rising Lesotho coordinator against gender-based violence on women and girls. I do have quite a number of businesses. I love being busy. So I have a salon and a preschool, but my preschool is in Swaziland. And then I am a mother, I'm also in academia. I love studying. Like my friends always say, when you get bored, you go to study something, I'm also in academia. So how do I put a balance? This is something that I learned about how old are my twins 9 years ago, because when I was still in South Africa and I was working for a research institution, that there is no balance. If you think you are in Bogota, you're going to balance everything. There is no balance.
Man, I try every day. Like I try every day.
So you need to tell yourself that there's nothing called the balance, especially if you're a man and you have all these things that you're doing around you. What works is that you need to know that you need to prioritize what's important to you at that particular time. What is important to you today? That speaks to you. What is important to you for the next 3 months, 6 months? And, so me saying there's no balance, I learned this also, or it was reaffirmed when about 2 or 3 years ago, I went back to, I was studying at NUL. I literally had to sit down my family and tell them to say, for the next 2 years, you will have to forgive me. I will not be as present as a mom, as a wife, because I'm focusing on my education right now. But that didn't mean, when I'm saying you need to prioritize, I was prioritizing on the education, but I was not neglecting them. I still had to be intentional to say, even the foundation, I still had to be intentional to say, when I go back to school, I need to leave someone in the foundation, because I'm not the system in the foundation. The system is there, so whoever comes in should be able to still continue and do the work. And when it comes to my family and my kids, I had to be intentional in terms of creating just one day where I'm not focusing on the foundation, I'm not focusing on studies, but to be with my family and my kids. Even if it's not one day, just time, So also when it came to me planning my day, I knew during the day I'm at school, and when I was at school, I was still lecturing there. I was like a student lecturer, because I just had to be busy. So, but at the end of the day, I knew I leave 8 o'clock, I come back at 5. I love cooking for my family. That for me, I will do any day, anytime, So, but at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that then I knew that come 6 o'clock or when it's family time, I'm not answering calls from school.
Yeah.
I'm not answering calls from work. I need to help my kids with homework. I need to put my kids down to sleep. And my husband has to come back to a meal, you know,
Yeah.
because also I think that's also our love language.
Yeah.
That's what spoke to us.
That's why I only with Yago. Like, I don't want that. Don't many mosadi go fail.
No, I always say for him it's easy, you know,
Yeah.
to a man's heart is through his stomach. I
Thank
got
you.
that one right.
Thank you, Gelly. Got it
Yeah,
all right. So now, just before you leave, yeah, Gisela said, uh, like, this person from Lesotho, this Lesotho is just happened to be in another country, and sometimes or somehow they feel like they are too small to bring impact either into that particular country they are in, and or even back at home. But here you are today, where now you manage to do all of these things. Here you running foundation, you running all these projects. You never really set yourself. You're from South Africa, you know it, but so now you're going to limit yourself. What can be your message to such people?
So my message to such a person, and I don't know, as you're saying this, I'm literally becoming emotional because it's not easy. That's one thing. It's not easy. And then secondly, I did say for me, it's a calling, and I feel like it's purpose. So being in a unfamiliar land, you know, can be very challenging. Because one thing about me, I'm a go-getter. If I set myself to do something, I want to do that. So I have struggled with imposter syndrome, right? Like, how do I fit in? I have struggled with, I keep on hitting the wall, and that can be so frustrating. So just 2 days ago, I was looking at my work in Swaziland, the pictures, the support, the sponsorships, you know, and I was like, if I was in Swaziland, because, and this was me reflecting because the menstrual health and hygiene day coming up soon, you know, so there's a lot of that's happening in the office in terms of us planning for that. But when I sit down with my husband, he always says to me, you know what, love, you have done a lot.
Yeah.
You have done a lot, and if it was me, if the roles were reversed and I was in Swaziland, I'll probably be sitting in my corner and sucking my thumb. You know, if we walk around with him and people, hey, my dear, you're like, when you know more people more than me now in this, and I'm the one from here, you know.
Yeah.
So one thing that I'm going to say is that if you have that dream, if you have that one thing that keeps you up every day, or that thing that if someone says, wake up and do it at 2 o'clock, know that that is your purpose. Know that that is what God has put inside you. So most often at times we feel like it's a desire or whatnot. You know what? The Bible says, I think I'm a Christian, right? The Bible says that
very interesting.
The Bible says that I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb.
Yeah.
I put things inside you that will help you to function. So, but because we function, God's ways are always higher than our ways. If something keeps you up at night, then you'll say, oh my God, you know, what's this? And it's that desire that God put, that's the purpose that God put inside you. So my advice would be, don't give up on that thing. Keep pushing. Someone is looking, someone is watching. That destiny helper is going to come and help you. Because if you lose that, you know, you lose yourself, and now you'll be depressed. You'll be, you know. So
wow. Such beautiful conversation you just had, Malia. We appreciate your presence, and I would say keep on doing such beautiful work that you're doing. I hope we'll have you some other day and next time. And until then, keep very, very well and keep going.
Thank you so much. I hope next time I come here, we'll have 1 hour.
Of
course. So I can
no,
pull myself
out. Make it 2 hours.
Thank you so much. I'm
You're
really encouraged to be on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Mo wa inspire a ke mme Malia Sakwane ena ke dumela hore ditaba tsa hae tse monate tseo a re phethetseng tsona le wena di utswetse molemo o eme fatshe haide e sa le le mme o la ka tsa go le wena o go etse letho ka hare ho di community tseo re phelang ka go tsona ka go setjhaba sa Basotho le ka re bophelo ba hao ka go lapa la hao le leno o bona go bophelo bo ba teng lona banana le di gaitsedi tsa haeso ke dumela hore ditaba tsa mme Malia di le ahile ka mo hlokahalang ka teng moriri wa ka o motle ko yentse ke Justice Hair Salon Magaleng Complex mane Lakeside pela Pima Garage o flela hape re kopana nakong e tlang ebile ditaba tse tsamaisitsweng jwalo ke Moifo Khabane wa television ya Lesotho mohlahisi wa lenaneo lena ke Francina Lesole. Until we meet again, it's a goodbye from us.